coastal city of Ras Al Khaimah, centre of the emirate of the same name, is a thriving industrial centre at the northern tip of the UAE. It's a place where nature, commerce and the everyday hustle and bustle of city life blend as one on the flat lands around the large inland lagoon. Despite having no oil reserves, this fourth largest emirate has continued to grow through tough economic times, with its deep water port and proximity to Dubai and Abu Dhabi making it an important cog in the UAE's commercial activity. The ecologically important areas, diverse topography and cultural heritage of RAK make it an increasingly popular visitor destination, and the measured and realistic approach to development have enabled Ras Al Khaimah to maintain steady growth year on year. Welcome to the fourth RAK Half Marathon. There's very little time to go, so for race director Nathan Clayton in the race HQ at the Cove Rotana Resort, it's slightly busy.
The list is about 100, at least 100 items long, but this is the final stages of preparation. As you've just seen, some of the crew have just been arriving. Vic Saylor has just flown in from New York. He's like you guys, he's the official photographer for race day. But here we are in the Aladdin's Cave, the race director's Aladdin's Cave, and this is all the crew kit. This is courtesy of Saucony, the official sports partner of the RAK Half Marathon, again now for the second year. And these are the clothes that we wear for the event. Now, you've had a few words from me, now it's time to meet the crew. Shall we go? Year 4 in a row, Ian Ladbrook is our elite athlete coordinator, and it's thanks to this man primarily that on Friday morning you'll be seeing some of the best runners in the world hitting the start line and pounding their way around the streets of Ras Al Khaimah.
It's a very exciting time. We're not going to get much sleep for the next couple of nights, but it's really, there's a lot of sense of anticipation because we've got world-class athletes coming in chasing world record times. So inshallah the weather will be very kind to us on Friday morning, and the athletes will wake up in the mood to race very fast and to chase the world record.
Lurking out in the background, Rami Turk is the operations manager of both Premier Marathons, the organising company behind the event, and the RAK Half Marathon. And Rami is one of the small crew that work throughout the year on this event, so his job is really also coming to a close now, but very important within the event.
Every race director in the world is dealing with a multitude of small issues as gun time approaches, but the foreign specialist staff have flown in, they've arrived, the elite athletes have arrived, and just about everything is ready.
It's unfortunate, this is what happens race week. There's so much to do, and I always need to be in about 5 different places, and tomorrow you'll see the two-way radio joins the mobile phone with the other mobile phone, and that's when everything starts getting a little bit more hectic. Hi Ness, how are you doing?
Now to Ground Zero, where a small army of staff are building the race village as well as other structures. Attention to detail is critical to success.
Maybe one out so we don't bring in too close to this thing, and we'll have the walkway for HH through there onto the red carpet around to the front.
For Nathan, it's back to the office, some lunch, more people arriving, and then, with 36 hours to go, a chance to contemplate what lies ahead. Today is Half Marathon Day. It's 7:20 on race morning and the massed field ready to go behind the elite athletes nervous with the conditions absolutely perfect. It's a warm morning, about 18 degrees. The sun's risen over the mountains to the east, and the 4th RAK half marathon about to get underway. Well, there's the lineup for the men's field today. Look out in particular for number 1, Dariba Merga of Ethiopia. He's a fearsome front runner. He was 3rd last year and comes back determined to improve on that. And then the Kenyan duo of Chanchima wearing number 3. He's in great form, as is Kibiwot wearing number 10. Both of them running very fast, under the hour, in the Lille half marathon in France last September. Well, the women's field as strong as ever, with the defending champion Direchun of Ethiopia back. She wears number 31. Look out too for number 40, Aselafetch Mergia. She was 2nd last year and is very, very consistent. Another Ethiopian. And a bit of a dark horse, number 32 there, Elvan Abelegese of Turkey, a former Ethiopian who is an Olympic silver medalist at 5,000 and 10,000 metres, and she makes her debut today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
His Highness Sheikh Saud bin Saka Al Qasimi gets the field underway. The elite athletes will be out for less than an hour, perhaps. The best men, the women not much longer, while others will take 2 or 3 hours when the temperature climbs through the morning. That's tough. But it's a dead flat course, and the first half mile or even 1 kilometre is absolutely straight away from the start line. Pacemakers, of course, for the elite athletes are of little relevance to the massed throngs behind. Mostly expats, 60% of the field are British. Huge contingents from Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, India, Pakistan, other European nations, of course. But up front, it's very much about the East Africans as ever. The elite field dominated by Ethiopians and Kenyans, both men's and women's fields, nowadays in every big race are very much, both men's and women's elite fields, totally reliant upon the strength of the African athletes to produce world-class performances. And the big names are here in the throngs. 8 men, no less, in the elite men's field have broken 60 minutes for the half marathon, the critical time that really decides whether you're world class or not. And in the women's field, some 13 women have broken 70 minutes, very much the benchmark for world class for them. But of course, with the world records last year over 15 kilometres during the actual half marathon in the men's race, and the women's junior world record, there are great hopes and ambition for more world records this year. So the pace from the outset, very, very important indeed to get right. There's the course. The athletes make a loop of the lagoon with a couple of right-hand turns out towards the city centre and the coast to the north. Then make an anti-clockwise loop through 9 and then 10 kilometres, an important point that, just past halfway at 11 kilometres, down to the southeastern end of the course, another U-turn there, back up towards the lagoon, a right-hand turn, and then left for that final kilometre to the finish line. Very flat, very fast, not many tight corners, and just what these athletes need to get into a nice, steady rhythm.
This is really a great day for sports people, and great for the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah, for the community to have to enjoy the sport, to enjoy the festivity, to enjoy that. It's just the spirit of just being competing, and all the different people, different for men and women to participate. It's a great day.
Well, number 3 at the front of the field there. That's a man who's very much expected to produce the goods on the day. Jairus Chanchima in wonderful form after a very fast half marathon in Lille in France last September. Number 1, Dariba Merga there in orange. The favourite after a 3rd place last year, but a fearsome racer, loves to front run. The Ethiopian 27-year-old has run 59.15, making him the quickest in the field. Number 17 to right of picture, that's John Kiprotich, another great racer as well. And 12 over to the left, Josfat Dambiri. Well, he's more of a track runner than a half marathon runner. His personal best of 62 minutes is due for serious revision. Every one of the previous 3 RAK half marathons has been won in under 60 minutes. and there's very little reason to suppose today will be any different. Number 8 there, Tadesse Tola. He won 3 marathons in 2008 and indeed is making his debut here today, which is unusual. Most marathon runners have earned their stripes at the half marathon distance, but that's not the case for Tola, yet another of the Ethiopians. They've eased away from the main pack very, very quickly. This group of, 12 or 14 men. The elite women will be having their own battle a few hundred metres back down the road. The athletes approaching the 2-kilometre arch. There it is. There are inflatables like that at every single kilometre point. It's a wonderful way for the athletes of referencing their effort. And of course, as we're hoping for a world record today, or at least a very, very quick time, they're pushing the edge of human capability. So their splits are vital. They must get them right. Back at the start, it's time for the relay race, the commercial team's relay race. 4 athletes per team. The first 3 athletes run 5 kilometres each, and the last athlete runs 6 kilometres. But the elite field are now well off down the course and pushing very, very hard. They need to be moving at 2:46, 2 minutes 46 seconds per kilometre, and they're going slightly slower than that. They're outside schedule at the moment, despite the stated intention of 2 or 3 of them to go for the world record.
Definitely a high-speed course. I've measured several courses in the world, but this is one of the fastest I've ever seen, and it will only depend on the wind conditions and on the tactical strategy of the top runners, if it becomes a world record or not.
Course record, incidentally, 58 minutes 52 by Patrick Macau of Kenya from last year. That was his second consecutive victory, but he's not here today. We are guaranteed a new champion. As you can see, still Murga there, pushing at the front, pushing the pace. He's made the mistake before of running too hard through the early stages. He did it last year and then faded towards the end. Let's hope he's learnt some pace judgment this year. Well, for some of these athletes, the course is now familiar, the surroundings familiar. They've run here once or twice before, some of them even coming back for the 4th time. Number 8, very much to the fore, is still Tadesse Tola. He's a 2 hours 8 minute marathon man. He's got enormous strength, but now the speed they move at these days for the half marathon requires really good leg speed as well. It's almost an event that's more suited to the former track runners who are used to sprinting than it is suited to the men of real guts and strength, the marathon runners. It's a war of attrition too at this sort of level. Athletes beginning to drop off the back from this lead group, as you can see, who are themselves world-class athletes because they are moving well. The 5-kilometre split will be absolutely critical to these men. They're looking for 13 minutes 50 at 5 kilometres, and the way they're moving at the moment, they'll be outside 14 minutes. So much more of an error, and any chance of a record is already gone. Indeed, the course record itself, not much slower than the world record, will be a very tall order. That scene, a dead flat, straight road, is just what elite athletes want. They're able to build up a good, steady rhythm, and it's corners and hills that really do break up the rhythm and make it tough for the athletes to run with optimum performance. You can see the damage done to the athletes behind. They're stretched out way back down the road. And it is quite frightening how fast these people move. Pick a point on the pavement or on the side of the road and see how quickly it disappears out of view behind the athletes, and you'll get an idea of just what sort of tempo they're moving at. The race has been won in each of the 3 previous editions by Kenyans, and that might well be the case today. The majority of this group are Kenyans. There's 1 or 2 Ethiopians in there. There's a Tanzanian, Fabiano Joseph, a former world half marathon champion. Just 24, Joseph. He's in that pack as well. But is he in shape to beat a field of this calibre? It's a race, the RAK half marathon, that has established a reputation over the last 3 years as the world's best quality race in depth for the elite athletes. That green arch they just went under was at 4 kilometres, so the 5 kilometre marker coming up, and as I say, they need to be around 14 minutes there, no slower, to keep on track or keep within sight of taking a pop at the world record. It's much easier to run hard and be moving fast in a pack like this too. It's the ideal situation. It's why so often records are set in true competitive situations like this, where athletes are effectively knocking chunks out of each other and watching each other very carefully, but trying to break the other athletes. And it, in effect, tempers the pain of the effort slightly. There's what, about 12 men in this one now? But they will begin to stop dropping off the back, because athletes have to be realistic. And if at 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers of a 21-kilometer effort you really are overreaching, then you'll be almost brought to a standstill in the latter stages, and none of them want to do that. There's good prize money dropping down into the minor places in this one. Over $250,000 prize money in total, $20,000 for the winner in the men's and women's races, a $5,000 bonus for a course record, a $50,000 bonus for a world record. And you take that back to Kenya, you take it back to Ethiopia, and it's got very substantial buying power. So still number 3, Jairus Chanchima, very much to the fore. Just to the left of picture is number 12, and that's Dambiri, who is a sub-27-minute 10,000-metre runner. It makes him, in blue there, the quickest 10,000-metre runner in the field. But of course, that's less than halfway of a half marathon. So has he got the strength to stay with the true road racers, the men that are used to running half marathons?
The Angel Appeal helps a lot of seafarers around the world, and here in the UAE everything comes by sea, and so we want to help the seafarers that bring us everything we've got, as it says on here. So definitely they'll make me faster.
Because it's a great event and good backdrop with the mountains. It's very close to Dubai. It's a nice distance as well, half marathon.
I've run a number of fun runs myself, and I really enjoy this one. There's lots of people having a good time here. It's great fun to come here.
No, we've run all 4 races, all four RAK half marathons. Why? Because we enjoy it. Yeah, it's a great race, well organised, flat course, good time. What more do you want?
Well, they're approaching the 5-kilometre marker now. There they go, through 5K, and it is well outside 14 minutes, and that's disappointing. 14:04 at 5 kilometres as the relay race gets underway. The sun rising higher in the sky, the temperature is climbing. It's 20 degrees now, and it will get much, much hotter through the morning in Ras Al Khaimah, although it is a glorious spring morning.
Yeah, it's good. It's very well organised so far, and all the information they've sent out to runners has been fantastic. We've got here safely, and looking forward to a great race.
I live in Doha, so I live in the region, and well, I've heard good things about this race, so I thought I'd give it a go.
Basically from Ras Al Khaimah Free Zone. This is the first time that we're joining as a company. We have about 13 teams running for Ras Al Khaimah Free Trade Zone Authority from Ras Al Khaimah, and we're doing it just it's a kind of team building for the team.
Marathon 2010! Yeah!
Well, the relay runners will make their way around the course at a more sedate tempo, that's for sure, but at the sharp end, it's a very, very hard running indeed. And those athletes are wearing timing chips around their ankles that they then have to pass over to the next athlete at the 5-kilometre changeover point, and so on, so that timing chip is carried the full distance, a bit like a relay baton. Number 3, very much to the fore, and he's probably done most of the leading so far as that 26-year-old Jairus Chanchima, relatively new name, but he's self-coached. I was talking to him yesterday, and he changed his training last year to basically train much harder. He trains with a big group of athletes. He is a half marathon specialist. He ran 5 half marathons in 2009 with varying degrees of success, 61, 62 minutes in 4 of them, and then that massive breakthrough last September when he broke 60 minutes for the first time to elevate himself to the top 10 or 15 runners in the world. Well, there goes the 6-kilometre marker through that arch. and they plough on, so they've covered less than a third of the distance, and already athletes beginning to struggle. Right at the back there in the orange vest, the tiny figure of Fabiano Joseph, former world champion, really beginning to feel the pace. And number 5 now, that's Titus Massai, who was running 60 minutes exactly. That was in Nice, down in the south of France, in April last year. But he too, a very good track runner, has a good pedigree. And last November in Delhi, in very warm conditions, ran under 61 minutes for the half marathon. Conditions this morning, frankly, very good indeed. The temperature is gradually climbing, but it's around 20 degrees, no wind, dead flat conditions, and these athletes know that opportunities like this, where all the circumstances are just about ideal for quick running, are rare. They're few and far between, and they have to grab the opportunity. He's a small man, but really well muscled in the legs is Titus Massai. He's just 21 years old, but his power to weight ratio, really fabulous. And this group is whittling down, isn't it? No doubt about it. Less than halfway covered, and we're down to what? About 8 athletes now. You can see athletes beginning to peel off in the background. Number 14 to the right of picture there. That's Geoffrey Mutai. Now, he is a name to watch. He won in Valencia in Spain last November. So what, about 3 months ago, he ran 59 minutes 30 for a half marathon, making him one of the quickest in the world. He's a 2 hours, 7-minute marathon runner as well as Mutai there, to the right of picture. So very much a man to watch. And this group of 6 now beginning to get away with different athletes taking their turn at the front to do the pushing, to push the tempo. And that makes it hard because it means there's very, very little let up. When one man feels he's done his stint at the front and eases back, somebody else takes his place. And the smart guys, perhaps, are the ones who don't do any leading. They just sit in there and use the men at the front as pacemakers, in effect. Well, that's the 8-kilometre arch they're moving through now. Just 5 miles gone. And the 10-kilometre point, which is very, very important, about a mile away, just over a mile away. There's the lead women with their own pacemakers. You can see number 31 there to the right of picture. That is Dire Chune, last year's winner, and very much a consistent athlete. She's a former Boston Marathon champion. Well, 9 kilometres gone in this men's race, spread across the road. They wouldn't be doing that if it was windy. And again, another face at the front and pushing hard. He looks really busy, doesn't he, in his running style. That's Tadesse Tola. He won 3 marathons in 2008, including big wins in Warsaw and Beirut. He's had a busy couple of years. In the last 21 months, less than 2 years, he's run 5 marathons, has Tola. Now, elite athletes normally can only run 2 marathons a year. It takes them a month to recover, and then they have to build up to the next one. So he's been rather extravagant in the way he's raced, and I wonder if he's got the reserves to compete well against a field of this calibre. Number 4 now, Getu Faleke, another Ethiopian, just 23 years old. He's a 60.5-minute man. He's never broken 60 minutes for the marathon, and his 10k personal best on the roads isn't particularly strong. Well, the pace has slowed a little bit. We're now well past halfway. They have passed 10 kilometres, well outside schedule, and there's no chance of a world record. The course record even looks a tall order. 10 kilometres was passed in 28 minutes 11 seconds. They needed to be down around 27:40, 27:50 to give themselves a shot at the world record. So forget that.